I don't know what to tell you. The Florida Gators have done it again. Kevin Ford, you are a Florida Gator.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever it's the podcast and on YouTube. And the Florida Gators have undergone a tremendous, or the Florida Gators fan base, I guess, have undergone a tremendous past 36 hours, we'll say, around that time, right? With Kevin Ford, edge rusher out of Duncanville. I see a bunch of you in the chat already. What's up, everybody? Love you all. But yeah, so let's talk about the Kevin Ford stuff for a while. So Kevin Ford, edge rusher out of Duncanville, Texas, by the way. So Florida, big player in Texas now, or at least more of a player than they've been in recent years in Texas now, with not just DJ Lagway, but there's been plenty of players over the past, really since Billy Napier got here. Joe Hamilton got there. Everybody got there, and Florida could recruit DBs out of Texas, or, well, found success with the DB out of Texas. And then, of course, that one didn't really pan out. But Florida getting Texas players, adding to the pipeline for college football 26 fans out there. But Kevin Ford took a visit to Florida in early June. And so Kevin Ford committed to Florida visited Florida in early June. And since then, there was some pretty positive traction for Florida, but, he had the Texas A&M visit after and the Ohio State visit after. And then it's like, all right, well, he's going to announce his commitment on July 11th. And Florida started gaining big traction on according to the recruiting sites and according to social media. It's like that's when Florida really started picking up, where we were getting a whole bunch of predictions coming in and a whole bunch of people getting ready to celebrate and getting ready to pop. Kevin Ford, Hezzy Kent, DQ Forkpaw, all this weekend, which we'll talk about that. But you got all of them this weekend. It's going to be big. It's going to be a huge weekend for the Florida Gators. And then yesterday morning happens. Thursday morning happens if you're listening to this on Saturday. So Thursday morning happens, and the reports that start coming out from Alabama reporters for the Alabama On 3 site, all of a sudden, it's maybe Alabama. The report is that, there's been traction with Alabama and Kevin Ford. We've always known that Kevin Ford has liked Alabama. And all of a sudden, there's this big Alabama movement. And the quote that I've been hung up on is initiated by the Ford side. And we talked about that on this morning's episode of Locked On Gators. But initiated by the Ford side. And that was always the thing that struck me. We had a couple On 3 Florida writers saying, yeah, this has been a really weird recruitment lately all of a sudden. I spoke with people earlier today, so earlier on Friday, before Kevin Ford committed, and what I was told was that they don't really believe the validity of those reports. Don't necessarily so much believe that he was trending toward Alabama, and seemed more skeptical about the initiated by the Ford side. So I don't know what the hell Timmy from the Alabama side was saying, but spoken to quite a few people that don't necessarily believe the validity of those reports. One person I spoke to even was just like, it's still Florida. I'm fairly certain about that one. Like I'm pretty confident about that one. And so Florida lands Kevin Ford, which, yeah, I mean, it was just a roller coaster of emotion if you're a Florida Gators fan following this. But it's nuts. On 3, Kevin Ford is a 4-star, 234th ranked player nationally, 26th edge, 34th player in the state of Texas. On 24/7, he is a 4-star, 98th player nationally, 11th edge rusher, and 16th player in the state of Texas. On ESPN, he is a 4-star, 148th player in the country. He is a 19th ranked edge and the 18th player in the state of Texas. On Rivals, he is a 4-star, 101st player nationally, 12th edge, and 14th player in the state of Texas. 6'3", 245. This is getting a guy that he's a jack all the way. Like I do think that, he's got a size that you can play with, but I'm just increasingly feeling like 6'3", 245 is already a pretty damn good size for the jack spot. He's got the tools. Like he's played pretty exclusively on the edge throughout his time. Like he's a pure jack player, and that's big. Like he is genuinely going to be one of the best pure edge recruits that Florida's landed in quite some time. And I mean pure edge. So I'm not including like LJ McCray, because LJ McCray, of course, was D tackle edge guy with his size. But here with Kevin Ford, you get a pure jack, similar in the form of another pure edge rusher from Duncanville, Colin Simmons. I don't think he's as good as Colin Simmons, but I think he's a pretty damn good edge rusher. And I am very excited for Florida to land that. As far as all the Alabama stuff, I'm choosing to believe the people that I've spoken to previously and the people that have never steered me wrong when it comes to recruiting. And I'm going to say that I don't believe the Alabama stuff, because I know on this morning's episode of Locked On Gators, I was talking about it, and I was saying if it's true that he reached out, that would bother me. Not Alabama making a late push, but if it's true, that would bother me that he reached out to Alabama, just in terms of comfort with the celebration and all that celebration and all that, all the excitement around it. But I'm choosing to believe the people that have been honest to me before, and I'm choosing to believe that he didn't reach out to Alabama on any legitimate terms. I'm choosing to believe that the Florida Gators got an elite edge rusher over Alabama, over Ohio State, over Texas A&M. Convenient that Alabama was left off of the graphic done by the guy that works for the site that put out the report that Alabama was making a late push. Really interesting, really convenient. But the Florida Gators recruiting class just got that much better. I see you guys popping off in the chat. We're going to get to you in just a second when we get back with Locked On Gators. You ever wish managing your money just felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, all of your investments, and all of your spending in one place. So, in addition to managing your money, you're also building your wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And the Florida Gators landed Kevin Ford. Again, a damn good edge rusher, right? Like a tremendous edge rusher, great athlete. I'm going to have a lot of fun when I think after this weekend, we're going to revisit the my individual class rankings of the players. And I haven't fully written the Kevin Ford scouting report yet, which is only slightly different from when I just watch them generally and give my feedback. But I'm going to think that I'm going to be really high on him. I'm going to think that he's going to be really high on the list. All right. I'm going to say that because he's fun to watch and everybody loves a good edge rusher, right? Jory said, Brandon, what other positions do you feel like we need to recruit for this class? I think you got to keep hammering the defensive, really front, I'll say, D-line edge. Personally, I think you need at least one more. I'm going to say at least one more DB. Because I like if you get a safety that can play in the nickel, I'm cool with that. If you can get a guy like Greg Smith's size and athleticism and try to find that, I would love it. I think that's just a big chess piece to have. And I'm not necessarily saying like, oh, you lost Greg Smith, you got to replace him. I just think it's good to, you can get local DBs with size in Florida. And so I think you could do that. And I think you should look for that always toward the end of the cycle. But D-line and edge are really where you got to hammer home. You just need more. It's a spot where you're going to lose a good bit of talent after this year. You need guys that are going to step up into it, and there's no guarantee that the depth pieces now are going to do that. So keep adding talent and figure out whoever your best players are to get them on the field, because next year you're going to be replacing a lot of guys. You are. But that's just a fact. Like, we could be as excited as we are for 2026's recruiting class and 2026 with Lagway entering his junior year. But 2025 is when you're going to have a more senior roster that's available to play. So you're going to lose a lot. You got to keep bringing in guys that are going to be able to contribute, because hopefully your 2024 class and 2025 class will be stepping into those roles and replacing that. But that means that you need people to replace those smaller roles played by those younger guys. And so that's what 2026 would ideally be. I also don't think that they're done on guys that they missed on. Landon Nation just said need to spin back on James Johnson and Bodney Cleveland during the season. Like I was just saying, I don't think that Florida's done on guys that they missed on early on. I just think that right now they're still filling out, and they'll circle back for guys, especially during the season, especially if coaches get fired, or especially if Florida beats that team or Florida exceeds expectations and some of those other schools don't. I think Florida will be able to circle back there. But yeah, I think those are the main spots to keep hitting. Another receiver, another tight end, another running back. Again, I'm of the camp that I think you need to take 2 running backs in this class. I know there's plenty of people that say you got just Carson Baker and just make it that. I don't necessarily hate that idea, but again, next year, Jaden Ball's draft eligible. After this year, Jacoby Jackson's probably gone. You're probably going to lose someone to the portal at some point. So essentially, I'm like, get a second running back so that you have running backs 5 and 6 or 4 and 5, however it's going to work out. But that's why I think you need a second back, because I think that there's going to be some attrition there. Just reading, the writing on the wall there. But Harrison Sanchez is in here. Phoenix Risers in here. We got a lot of people in here on a Friday night, by the way. On a Friday night, we got a full house. I just want to throw that. I think there's more people in here right now on Friday night than we had the last day that we went live. I'm pretty sure right now there's more people in this live show than we had on what was it, like a Tuesday? I think it was like a Tuesday. Right? Malik Morris, Monday maybe? Whatever it was, I think we got more people in here now, and that was at a much more reasonable time. So just like seeing that, like that's an awesome thing to see on a Friday night, spending time. Appreciate everybody here. DeMarvin said, people saying Florida overpaid. Well, you pay for what you get and you pay for talent. Look, but that's the thing, right? Like, I'm going to pull this up. People saying Florida overpaid. A couple of things there. One, players are worth what someone's willing to pay them, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say overpaid, but maybe you overvalued would be the better term. So I just hate the overpaid term. But maybe because, who are you to say that they overpaid? Maybe in your opinion they overpaid, but that doesn't mean that they overpaid. So there's that. 2, people could say Florida overpaid. Anybody going to feel bad about that? I don't know. If someone went, oh yeah, well, Florida overpaid him or overpaid for him, Florida significantly outbid everybody else. Okay. Get your money up. I don't know what else you want me to say. If someone goes, oh, Florida overpaid him, Florida paid too much, Florida outbid everybody by a lot, I don't give a damn. We spend all this time complaining about Florida not spending enough money. Now that they are spending that money, I'm not going to complain. Get your money up. Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't care if they overpaid. I'm glad they're spending money on premium positions. This is what we've talked about with all the front office hires, Benjamin Ellis, Chris Polk, all those front office hires this offseason that we talked about. We talked about spending money at premium positions. That's what it was. We talked about whatever resources you have, use them at premium positions. Edge rusher, offensive tackle, a really offensive line, corner, QB, receiver. Get good players at those positions, give them the money, whatever it is, and go get them. They did it. Like I want Florida Gators fans. You should be throwing parades, throwing parties, going nuts. Anytime someone wants to tell you, hey, Florida overpaid for him. Good. I don't care. I don't care what you think about overpaying. Be happy. Your school's overpaying. We don't have to complain about not paying anybody. You got Kevin Ford. Sure. I don't know the amount he got. I don't think anybody saying they overpaid really knows the amount that he got. But he got the amount he got. Good. I'm glad he's getting paid. I'm glad he's going to be a Florida Gator. That's all I care about. That's all I remember. Or that's all I care about. That's all I want to know. That's it. I hate to be a killjoy, but he still has to sign the papers. Yeah, no. Look, we can recognize that kids are going to leave, right? We can recognize that. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to celebrate when they commit, right? Like we celebrate family when your family, leaves for college. Like we celebrate that. We don't know if it's going to be a great time, right? So we're just going to have fun. We're going to celebrate there. He could have stayed home and he would have gotten decent offers from any of them schools in Texas. While they're paying the players they really want. Yeah, that's fine. Like that's why I've never said that Florida, or I've never really thought that Florida doesn't have the money. It's that they're frugal with it. They don't want to spend it. But it's not that they don't have it, because they spend it on players that they want. They spent it on roster retention. They spend it on things like that. They're just not spending big in high school recruiting as much as some fans want them to, but win games and people will shut the hell up. It's as simple as that. I hope everyone who complains about overpaying or donating to Florida Victorious. That's a great point, Drake Castagnata. If you are not paying to Florida Victorious, if you are not donating money to Florida, if you are not helping Florida's NIL causes, and you complain about them not spending enough money, maybe give more so that they have more, or maybe give if you don't give. Just a thought. Just a thought. It doesn't matter. Billy beat that oil and barbecue cattle money tonight. Big Bucks Billy does it again. If you know, you know, Jory. If you understand what the biggest imports and exports are in Texas. Yep. I don't know why we're talking about imports and exports in Texas, baby. We just got a Florida commit. You know what? You know what's a Texas export? Kevin Ford. He's coming to the Florida Gators, and we're going to celebrate that, right? Late to the party, but Gator boys stay hot. They do. They do. The Florida Gators are still continuing this momentum. Tomorrow, Hezzy Kent, offensive tackle, tight end, weapon. We're going to call him offensive weapon, and he's the first ever tackle, tight end, offensive weapon that we've talked about. He is committing tomorrow. Will hopefully be a Florida Gator. That seems to be the team that publicly is trending or is the public favorite for Hezzy Kent. You will hopefully see that happen. DQ Forkpa, linebacker, was supposed to commit tomorrow, has now pushed that back. We were told that there was a big late push by Michigan and that they've been making moves. And I will say this, I'm not super concerned with it right now. Like, I'll be concerned with it if I feel there's a reason to be concerned with it, but I really don't care when people push back their recruitment. I don't. Because I'd rather you know the answer before you commit. Like, we could talk about decommits and all that stuff. But like, if you have a commitment date set and another school comes in and changes your mind for whatever reason, or not even changes your mind, just gives you doubts for whatever reason, then I don't mind you pushing back your recruitment. Because I'd rather you push back your recruitment as opposed to commit to Florida, knowing that you're kind of thinking about Michigan. I'd rather you just, take your time, make your decision. I think that's one of the reasons when people, because I do feel like people talk about this a lot with Florida and Billy, and we're going to end on this note, but people talk about how Florida doesn't pressure kids enough. And I disagree with it sometimes. Like, I do think that there's times where you actually should apply pressure. And I think that there are some kids that would really benefit from Florida applying pressure. Not just in the sense of, they're going to be Florida Gators. That's great for Florida. But if Florida's actually their best fit, but they're getting sold snake oil somewhere else and they go there, like, I would rather you apply a bit of pressure if you know that that's bullcrap from the other sides, because oftentimes it is. And so for Florida, like I get that there's a lot of people that hate not pressuring kids to commit, not getting the pop like that, but we would also complain if Florida kept getting kids to commit early and then decommitting. The same thing that a lot of Florida Gators fans troll Florida State, Miami, USC is a school I give a ton of crap to. Rob G, you're wearing a great shirt then, by the way, if you're wearing this 2-bit shirt by Home Field. I love it. It's my favorite shirt. But for Florida not applying pressure, like, honestly, I'm fine with it most times. Because I would rather you wait for the kid to make a proper decision, have that proper decision be the Florida Gators, and have him commit to you, sign with you, stick with you, and win with you. Like, I'd rather that, honestly. So I'm fine with it most times. There's just some instances I think that you actually would benefit from applying pressure. But the Florida Gators staying hot, hopefully tomorrow staying hot as well. That's going to do it for this bonus episode of Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and our Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Check out the Whole Nine Sports YouTube page, by the way, which just launched the first episode of our Florida Dynasty, Billy Napier style. So we're doing that. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI, and I will see you all next time.